Hey everyone, how are you? This is Andrea Balboni, sex, love, and relationships coach, normally based in London, but I am here in Greece today with Emma Spiegler, who is also a sex, love, and relationships coach. We are on a getaway with other of our colleagues, and so we took the chance to sit together and have a chat with you about a very, very interesting subject. So Emma is a coach who works with people who have had a difficult childhood, helping them to transform those wounds so that they can really thrive and live beautiful, full lives.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Hello. Really, really excited to be here and be sitting here talking with you.
Yeah, amazing. So Emma and I had a discussion about emotionally safe sex. Hey, Angela, how are you? Hey, Natalia. Safe sex, and then emotionally safe sex. So we all kind of know what safe sex is by now. It's, use a condom and maybe even ask your partner or consensual other what if they've been tested for any diseases so that you can be fully protected in sex. But what about your emotional body? What about your heart when you have sex with someone? You also maybe want to be looking at protecting that a bit too. And Emma's going to speak to us today about why that might be, what that looks like, what emotionally safe sex looks like. And she's also going to teach a bit on how we can practice it. And it's vital for all of you looking to fall in love and to find love, because it helps you stay with an open heart and at the same time feel safe and protected and good. And this is definitely what we want.
Absolutely. So we were just talking beforehand, and I had this idea, and I was thinking back to sex education when we were at school, and I think I had like one PSHE session with a cucumber and a condom. Everyone laughed. I don't think some of us even could manage to put the condom on the cucumber, and absolutely nothing was mentioned about emotionally safe sex, which is crucial to all of us when we're meeting people, when we're falling in love, when we're teenagers, and we're just not taught about it. I know that there's charities and agencies now that do teach this to young people, but as adults, these things kind of weren't around. So this is like a really important topic to talk about for people who are going out dating, people who are wanting to meet people, and as you said, to protect our hearts, because so many times, as you put in the blurb before, like how many times can we count on our hand when we've gone on dates and we've kissed someone that we didn't really feel like kissing, but because we felt obliged, or we slept with someone but we weren't really into them, but maybe we had a few drinks and then we thought, oh, well, we might as well because we went on a date and they paid for my dinner. There's all these different subtle and not so subtle ways that we enter into something that really doesn't feel good for us afterwards. And then, as we were just discussing, then we wake up in the morning and we feel shitty, we feel depressed, we feel like really remorseful, regretful, and then we're like calling our friends, or we're Googling at 4 o'clock in the morning when we're like feeling really upset because why did we do that again? Why did we disappoint ourselves? So all of this is what emotionally unsafe sex can feel like. And so I was thinking beforehand, what's like the first step to recognizing emotionally unsafe sex? And I was thinking that it's really the first step is working out what we're bringing from the past, what has influenced us, what has shaped our sexual experiences. So this could have been things that happened at school when we were experimenting, when we were having sex for the first time. We might still carry those experiences in us, and it might impact how we relate to people even now as adults when we're dating. It could be performance anxiety, it could be the expectations that we carry around what happens on a first date, what happens on a second date, what happens on a third date, all these different expectations that make us think, well, he's bought me a drink or she's bought me a dinner, then, or I go back to their house, or we've kissed, so kissing leads to this. There's all these different things that shape and influence our perceptions and can lead us to feeling unsafe without even being related to the present moment. It can be something that we're carrying from the past. And then there's the experiences that are happening in the moment that might be leading us to feel unsafe.
Mm. And so I think what we were discussing also before was how this can affect how you love and how
Yes.
open you are to loving, and how it may really be things that are blocking you from actually enjoying being the process of falling
Yes.
in love, being in love, and then making love eventually with someone. So first understanding a bit more, I think, about what emotionally unsafe sex is, so that we can understand better what emotionally safe sex looks like, and then beginning to really exercise ways in which we can practice more emotionally safe sex and have falling in love be beautiful as lovemaking as can be.
Yeah, so the first step is what's influenced this. It's having an awareness. When we're meeting someone, it's having this self-awareness of these are the experiences that I bring with me into current situations, into dating, into current relationships as an adult, and being able to differentiate between this is what happened to me in the past and this is what's going on real time with this person. And then the second step is, how do we recognize that we're actually feeling emotionally unsafe in the present moment? And one of the best ways is to tune into and listen to our body. And in a disembodied culture, that can actually be quite it's a conscious thing that we have to do to actually tune in and listen, because we've been taught in a culture that doesn't really teach us to listen to our bodies, to override these subtle and not so subtle signals. So let's just say we're on a date with someone that we've met from Tinder or OkCupid, and we're meeting up and they touch our hand. The conversation isn't going too well. We're not really gelling. We're kind of getting like a funny, bad vibe from them. And one of the responses might be we freeze up, we tense, we feel like a knotted stomach, we start to feel cold. And these are all bodily responses and sensations that are communicating to us what's called like the fight, flight, or freeze response. And these are automatic responses which are telling us that we are in danger, like actual danger or perceived emotional danger. And this is a way of telling us that we don't feel safe, that we need to stop what we're doing, or that we need to change the situation so that we can feel safe. So it's really about recognizing when we're sitting there, if we're feeling tense, and it's not just like first date nerves or third date nerves, it's actually our body communicating signals to us. So that's the second step, is recognizing the signs of what emotional unsafety feels like, and listening to it. So we can recognize it, that's the first step, but then actually just, it's just maybe going to the toilet, or if we're in someone's home on a third date, just taking a moment to check in, maybe just take a few deep breaths and just check in, what's my body saying here? What's it communicating? Okay, I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling safe.
How important is it in that moment to understand whether, or try and analyze even, whether it's something that you need to step back from, or it's actually just something from the past that is blocking you?
Yeah, so that's such a great question, because sometimes when we're in the moment and like a feeling or sensations are taking over, it's actually really difficult to differentiate. And that's where like taking a step back, taking a minute, maybe making an excuse, going to the toilet, or saying that you've got a phone call, or even like pretending to text and just use social media just to have a moment to reflect what's actually going on. Is it the person that I'm with? Is it actually happening between us in real time, or is it something that's happened from the past that's being triggered, that I need to self-soothe, that I need to come back into myself? Or even, it depends, if you've got to know this person and you feel like there's an emotional rapport and trust building up, you could even be able to start a conversation with that person and say, gosh, I'm feeling really like tense and nervous at the moment. When you went to kiss me, it reminds me of this time when I kissed someone, and it really didn't feel good, and then they asked to sleep with me, and I'd already told them that I didn't want to have sex on the first date, and then I felt like they'd really stepped over my boundaries, and this is just coming up now, so I know that it's not really to do with you, but I just want to let you know that this is the reaction that's coming up. And then that can really help you and the person to come even closer and just make it clear and just get it out there that something's coming up. And not holding it inside. It just depends if you've built up the trust with that person, you feel you can talk about it.
Yeah. So I think in both of those examples, it's really great. So in the first situation, you find a bit of time for yourself to kind of look at things. And in the second one, you begin to share what is going on with you, with someone. What if you are just beginning to sort of practice this, receiving these messages from your body and understanding that I might need space, but you don't yet have the ability to understand where that might come from, and you just need more time, or you just don't feel right? What would you recommend someone does in that situation?
Again, it's such a great question, because I think that would be the really common thing that we go through, that we're feeling it, we're not quite sure where it's coming from. We just know that we don't feel good, and to protect ourselves, to the next step, to maybe learn how to say no, or not go through with something. So just to recognize it, not have to analyze it, not have to make sense of it in the moment. That's something you could do on reflection with yourself, and also speaking to friends or speaking to other people who you trust and can talk through with it. So it's just knowing that something's come up, and you don't have to take the next step, whether that's kissing someone or sleeping with them.
So it sounds like you don't have to justify your feelings or understand them completely in order to be able to give yourself that space.
Absolutely.
And if you don't feel ready or don't feel safe in sharing with the other person, you don't need to either. So yeah, fantastic.
Absolutely, because sometimes, and many times, the situation will be where you haven't built up the trust. The rapport's not there yet, and you can keep it inside and just know that you don't have to share it. Not everything needs to be shared.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about the next steps? Because I'm curious to hear. So what would the next step be? So you're in a situation, your body's doing something, you've started to learn to listen to those messages of your body that are saying, I need something, whether it's space or maybe you're even not sure what you need. What can you do for yourself to help yourself feel, I guess, is this the point where you regain that safety, where you start to rebuild that safety, or am I jumping ahead?
No, this is the point. So the next step, the first step, is what does our body need? So when we go back to our core needs, like the Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs, our core needs are to feel loved, to feel like we are safe, and to feel that we belong to those that we love around us. So in that moment, if we're not feeling safe, then it's how can we come back to restoring safety? Either by self-soothing or by communicating with someone else an experience that happened that we really didn't enjoy, and processing it. So it's really about afterwards, how can we process it so that this stress that's happened in our body, this flight, fright or freeze that we might not have been able to action on and take action on in the moment, how can we then process that afterwards so that we can come back to a sense of safety in our body? And it's like we were discussing beforehand, it's so important to process that afterwards if you can and if you have an opportunity, because the more that we have experiences that we don't enjoy, that we feel shitty afterwards, that we feel remorseful and regretful about, and if we don't process it, then our body's natural response will be to build up like this armor, like this sense of protection around our heart, coming more and more into fearfulness around meeting others, dating others, falling in love. Whereas if we want to fall in love, we really want to be opening up our heart as much as possible, and coming back to a sense of openness and safety and joy and pleasure in the process of falling in love. So there's this thing called completing the stress cycle.
Okay.
And what happens when we go into a flight, fight, or freeze response is a stress response is happening, and a stress cycle is happening. So the first stage of a stress cycle is, number one, we don't feel safe. So I'm not safe. So someone has just gone to kiss me, I kissed them back, I felt like horrible in my body. I didn't like the kiss at all. I really didn't enjoy the conversation with them. I don't even know why I did it, but I'm feeling unsafe. Okay, so I've done it. So I go home, and then I'm maybe crying, calling up a friend at 12 o'clock at night saying, I don't know why I did it. It really didn't feel good. And so that's the first stage, is that we felt emotionally unsafe. So the second step in completing a stress cycle is taking action. So the taking action could look like, well, number one, it could look like actually just not kissing in the first place, moving the face to the side and saying, actually, I don't really feel like kissing. Or let's say you did kiss the person. The second stage could look like texting them the next day saying, actually, on reflection, the kiss really didn't feel right, and I don't want to meet again. It was lovely meeting. Thank you for your time. I really don't want to meet again. So your body is getting this sense of, right, we've taken action. She has said no. We're not going to meet with that person anymore. And then the third stage.
Before you go there,
of course, yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
So it sounds like by taking action and doing something, you're signaling to your body, or you're telling your body, which is interesting because it almost sounds like your body is sort of like a separate thing to you. You're signaling or telling your body, I'm going to take care of you.
Yes.
So that if this happens again, I'm here for you. And you don't need to freak out, because you're starting to build up a trust within yourself.
Oh yes, that's so lovely.
Is that what? Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful the way you put it. It's this internal dialogue. So it does sound like I'm like separating, me from my body. It's this internal dialogue where we are communicating with ourselves with trust, with a sense of love, compassion, and understanding, so that we are building up this trust with ourselves, so that we can come back to that sense of safety again.
Excellent.
And by communicating that and taking action, then we can feel this sense of self-trust. So rather than this sense of, I'm trying to think of the word, where we've let ourselves down, then we're flipping it, we're switching it. We're saying, I'm not going to let myself down next time. I'm not going to do that again. I'm taking action this time, and next time I go out on a date, I might even stop the kiss before it even happens. And then that will help us to feel confident, to have a sense of power, a sense of agency when we're going into dating situations.
Yeah. Certainly my own experience would be that when I have told my body that, okay, next time it's not going to be like this, and I'm not going to do this again.
Yes.
And I've acted on it. It sounds strange, but my body definitely, I've built up over time a sense of trust.
Yes.
So that I won't betray my body, because I've made a promise to her. So it's also, it is like a little bit of a relationship, a different way of kind of thinking about relating to ourselves.
Yes.
But it has absolutely, for me, I could say from firsthand experience, built up confidence and trust. And so that, definitely when you go out to love, you also know how to protect yourself, and you are protected.
Absolutely, and it's so important, because we really need to build that self-loving relationship with ourselves where we know we can trust ourselves. Otherwise, we're giving all of that power away to the other person. We're relying on them to make decisions for us and to take control of how the experience happens, how the experience unfolds when we're dating. And that's really not going to make us feel good about ourselves. That's where the disappointment and the feelings of rejection and remorse and shitty feelings and
the weakness
happens.
The
helplessness, because we've given away our sense of power to another person.
So definitely this is a key point in being able to open your heart and feel protected and safe as it's wide open.
Yes.
And I think that is really critical to falling in love. The beauty of it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It really is.
So you were saying, is there another third step to completing the stress cycle, or is that?
Yeah, so the first step is the end step. So we've got, just to recap, we've got like the beginning stage, which is I don't feel safe. And then we've got the second stage, which is taking action. So that is, saying no, and lots of different ways, letting the person know that what happens, what's happening is not okay. Creating a boundary, creating a distance, stepping away, making sure that it's not going to happen again, or expressing that it wasn't right if it has already happened. So there's the beginning stage, I'm not safe, the middle stage, we're taking action, and the third stage, I am safe, because we have taken action. So this is where we're coming back to a sense of I feel safe, I feel okay. I text him, I text her, I said this didn't feel right, I don't want to meet again. And then we're coming back to this sense of I'm okay.
Amazing. I think also there is the possibility of taking that time to understand what's actually going on, so that it's not necessarily that person, you'll never see them again. Yes. There's also that possibility that you just need a bit of time and space to process some stuff.
Yes.
And that maybe you will come back to them again. Like maybe they could be a good person for you to be with and see again. So it kind of leaves you this chance to make a decision too on what to understand what's going on, and then make a decision for yourself on how you want to move forward. Amazing.
I really like that. I really like that you said that, because we might meet someone who we're really attracted to. We've got an emotional connection. We've got an intellectual connection. We have a sexual chemistry. There's all these different connections, and they could be a potential partner that we want to invest our energy and our time with, and build trust with, and build a relationship with. And we might sleep with them on the third date when actually really we wanted to sleep with them on the fifth date. And so we have that choice to say to that person, actually I didn't feel quite ready, so can we wait a bit longer? And so you're exactly right in what you're saying. Sometimes we might do something, and we have every right, we can give ourselves permission, even if we have done something a little bit too soon that didn't feel quite right and ready. We can say, actually, I know that we did it, but I still don't feel like we're there yet. I feel like I just want to get to know you a bit more. I just want to, etc., etc. So we can backtrack.
Yeah,
we can do that as well.
Definitely. Cool. Yeah, it's good to know.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's also good to, some people get quite confused about whether someone's right for them or not, because they'll come up with these initial feelings of unsafe, of not being safe, or something's not quite right, and they do want a little bit of time to understand what the root of that might be.
Yes.
Because if it is something that maybe you've experienced from the past, it might not be related directly to the person that you're now having in front of you.
Yes.
So you do also want a little bit of time to understand that differentiation as well. And if you do keep looping through and trying to understand things and you do get stuck, then I would recommend coaching in those moments, because coaching can really help you get clarity on whether it's a past thing that can be worked through, or whether it's actually the person in front of you. There's something there that's just not quite right. He's just not, or she isn't your partner, isn't your person.
And it can be both things.
It can
be a mixture. And just as you were saying that, I was thinking, wow, yes, like we carry so much from our past. The power of our past experiences really does. Even when we've done so much self-development and so much inner work, we're still carrying and projecting those experiences into our current, like, present reality.
Yeah.
So it really helps to have an awareness of those things that have happened that we are bringing, because we could be sitting opposite someone who is communicating all the right signals that this is safe, and this is a great connection, we can move forward, But if we've had so many difficult experiences in our past that have led us to keep feeling disappointed, rejected, remorseful, then we might be missing that cue and signal of safety, because inside of our bodies, we're holding this lack of safety. And again, that's where coaching, therapy, self-development work will really help us to build our sense of internal safety.
And understanding, I think, as well.
And understanding.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. Was there any other, we talked quite a lot about then recognizing that past things can influence our present experience of dates and other people. We talked about recognizing when we feel emotionally unsafe, how that is registered in our body. And then we talked a little bit about what to do. So step back and understand it, give yourself space. Then we talked about how to rebuild that sense of trust and safety within yourself by taking action. And letting your body and yourself know that you can be trusted in the future to behave in a way that will keep you safe. So you build that trust up within yourself. And and then just really understanding that you are safe, you have a heart that can be open and also can receive love and can be also protected when you need to. Is there anything else that we should know about emotionally safe sex?
Well, there's the fourth stage, which is, what does emotionally safe sex feel like in our body? How is our body communicating that we feel safe? So that would feel like a sense of calmness, a sense of groundedness, a sense of peacefulness, not feeling unsettled, putting aside the kind of, first, second, third date nerves and the excitement and the chemicals that are coming up when we're, experiencing sexual chemistry, etc. It's this sense of waking up in the morning and feeling like you had a really great time. And it's not mixed with, shit, why did I do that? Or, oh, God, I really regret that I said, that I said yes when I meant no. It's waking up and feeling okay and good in ourselves. So that really is when we're having emotionally safe sex.
Excellent. Thank you. That sounds dead on.
And and it's emotionally safe sex is when we're maintaining our sense of power. So it's going back to what we were saying before. It's not giving away our sense of power and expecting the other person to say things to make us feel comfortable, to make us feel safe. It's maintaining that sense of safety within, building up a resilience and a sense of safety within by doing the inner work.
And having a strong yes and a strong no is important. And
having a strong yes and a strong no. And that takes a lot of practice.
Absolutely.
Even us as coaches, I'm sure there's times where we're saying yes when actually we really meant no in everyday life situations. It's not something we're taught and we're educated on as we're growing up in the education system.
Can you give us some simple, practical, day-to-day maybe exercises or practices that we can do to start to develop this ability to have a strong yes and a strong no?
So it's a great idea. So it's building up slowly with small daily things where we can practice, so that when it comes to it and we're experiencing a strong reaction and response, we've practiced it so many times that we're able to say no, or we're able to say yes. And so this could be, we could be a work situation where you're with your boss and they ask you to do another mini project with a deadline of 5:30 p.m. and you've got already 7 tasks to do that you need to complete, that you've promised to everyone else in the team. And so it might be a simple assertive communication. I really want to do this for you. I know that's really important. I can't do it this evening. I will do it first thing tomorrow morning. So that's a clear no. It's communicating clearly with the other person. I mean, that's a hard one to do when you're trying to impress your boss at work and you've got the pressure. So that's just one example. It's challenging. It really is. We, especially for the people pleasers out there, I'm one of them. I've been one of them in the past. It's really difficult to do. We want to say yes. We wanted to cram it in, but then we're putting ourselves under stress. And for what? We might even not do the job properly. So another example is we might be out with friends. They might say, for example, we discussed this before, shall we go to a meat restaurant in London? And and you are like complete total vegan and you just want to please this person, maybe they're a new friend, and you don't want to be seen, it's all this conditioning, isn't it? Of we don't want to seem awkward, we don't want to seem difficult, we don't want to
rock the boat.
Yeah, we want to feel love. So it comes back to that core need. We want that person's friendship. We want that person's love, or we want to feel liked by them. So we'll just say, yeah, sure, I'll just eat the salad in the meat restaurant. I'll just, but then we build up a sense of resentment. We might eat something that we didn't like. So I know this is just a small example. And it's not the end of the world if we eat a salad
once or 10 times.
Exactly. When we're a vegan, when we want a better meal to go out. But it's these small ways that we can practice. So we can just text our friends and say, actually, I'm just, because I'm going out and I'm spending money, I'd really like a nice place where there's a compromise. So I'll have a look, I'll check out the restaurants. Would you be okay with that? So it's a compromise, and it's not just saying yes to be people pleasing.
And I think this does, talking again about that relationship with your body, it does signal to your body, even if it's the restaurant choice or something, that she will stick up for me. She will do what's right for me. She will stand by me, and I'm safe. I'm safe here with her. So again, sometimes it takes a little bit of practice, I would say, when you start thinking about this yourself a little bit differently. But also it's interesting just to notice how things shift, how you do feel more confident, more safe and secure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you wake up feeling good.
And you wake up feeling good.
Rather than shitty.
Yes. And grounded and steady. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Emma.
Thank you.
That was amazing. So Emma can be found at emmaspiegler.co.uk. You can read more about her background, which is extensive. She's an incredible, incredible coach and incredible woman. So I recommend that you definitely do that. I'll pop the information into the live, into the info box, and into the comments, so you can catch her on Instagram and Facebook as well. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, we'll have you back again, I hope.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.